we have an ancient carving. And remember, in my opinion, we have had all this technology and much more in the past civilizations. This individual is shown wearing what is clearly a watch. And what I find very interesting is that I've seen this type of symbol many times before, on nearly every cathedral all over the world. I know I've seen many people say that these are some sort of incredible energy or frequency vibration sharing technology, which is very possible. And there's a lot of proof showing that this is most likely the case. They are strange for sure. They are not just windows. But is it possible that they were also clocks? Is it possible that they told the time and the seasons and possibly more? Do they still do this? And we just don't understand how to read them. If you look at the Prague astronomical clock, you can see that the people of the old world were much more in tune with time than we are today. With our basic clock that gives us half of a day's worth of time.
Right, let's talk about Tartarian bells, what they did, why it was important, and where the hell they all went. To the original poster, sorry I didn't just stitch your video so they could hear what you said. My stitches always get messed up. For anyone watching this video, make sure you watch the original poster's video. It's a really cool story. The reason there used to be so many bells is because bells clear out negative frequencies. More specifically, and welcome to Schizo TikTok, they rid the space of demons. You're probably aware of the use of bells in Catholic ceremonies, Buddhist traditions, and many other spiritual practices. It's no coincidence that the spiritually inclined use bells during their ceremonies, rituals, and traditions. It's because it resets the space with harmonizing frequencies. Demons are essentially static electricity in the invisible world. When you play the bells, it sends out harmonizing frequencies. Those staticky frequencies cannot exist in the space when those bells are ringing, which is why there were so many gigantic bells. These were spread across the entire civilization. And anytime they felt something was off, like their intuition went off or they saw like a shadow person, they played these bells like crazy and cleared out the space. These demonic entities are predators and parasites in the invisible world, and they try to sneak into our spaces so they can latch onto us and sap our energy. They're also the reason that many people have voices in their head or have urges to do bad things. These demons were relentless. They really wanted to get into this space where all the bells were because all these people were highly spiritually evolved and had a lot of energy. This was like a turkey dinner for them. So they slowly started possessing people one by one who lived on the outskirts, on the outside of this civilization, eventually getting them to band together under these evil gods. And then they went to war with this civilization, and they were instructed by the demons to take all the bells down first. This was the fall of Tartaria, and potentially the fall of Atlantis. They were masters of frequency. Just look at the old papers in Egypt when they talked about being invaded by these barbaric demon-possessed people. They used to use their ankhs in line with the pyramids to shoot frequency energy at the enemies. They called them the sea people. Here's a couple pop culture references to kind of support this idea. Remember, the subconscious is always trying to speak the truth through art. For one, the breaking of glass at weddings. This is about creating a harmonizing energy to start the marriage, to clear out the space of any negative energy. Remember, many times demons are creations of our own dark thoughts and emotions. In Spider-Man 3, when he's fighting the symbiote that's attached to Venom, he plays all the music on the bars and makes the symbiote go crazy. The symbiote is a metaphor for the demon. The massive amount of other stories where they're singing and playing music to destroy evil. Here's where it gets really interesting. The strengthening of the right hand in Revelations is about strengthening you spiritually. The new song is a new way to play the bells from within, so they can't stop it.
Try and follow what I'm going to tell you. There are two kinds of law on the earth, as I've said. One is called civil law, which is the law of the land, and one is called maritime admiralty, which is called the law of water. Maritime admiralty is banking law, and the law on the maritime admiralty says that you, because you came out of your mother's water, are a maritime admiralty product. This is why the ship is sitting in its berth and it's tied to the dock, and the captain has to give a certificate of manifest to the port authority because money is changing hands. This is why when you were born, you have to have a birth certificate. It's got to be signed by the dock, because that's where the ship is tied to, is the dock. So the dock signs your birth certificate.
Smart dust, and the new technology may soon make it possible to keep track of anything, anywhere, including you.
Smart dust originated with darkweb back in the 90s. This powder-sized chip is something called the Mu chip from Hitachi. It's the smallest commercially available RFID system in the world. You can literally scatter this stuff like dust or embed it into a sheet of paper. It doesn't require a battery. Flecks of computing power settling on your skin, ingested, monitoring you inside and out.
The nanoparticles are designed to go under the radar of the immune system, and so they are undetected in the body.
We have computing everywhere, we have connectivity everywhere, we have infrastructure that can compute those with new capabilities like AI.
If you have enough data and you have enough computing power, you can understand people better than they understand themselves, and then you can manipulate them in ways which were previously impossible.
Transhumanism is a growing movement that aims to use technology to modify our bodies, sometimes in radical ways to make them stronger, faster, and better.
Ooh, this is stuff that came out of my pool. All different kinds of weird looking things. Here's the weird part. I pulled it all out with the bucket. Yeah. So, looks like they're just spraying from the planes. It's all metallic.
There is a literal hole in our own ozone layer that just opened up above Antarctica, and this is bigger than North America. They made an illustration so that we could imagine what this would look like in 3D. This is what it looks like. So they're saying that it is normal for the size of the ozone layer to fluctuate and increase in size between August and October, with the hole usually reaching its maximum between mid-September, mid-October. However, one of the scientists that's reporting this is noting that the measurements right now are not like any they've seen before. Obviously, this hole is huge. They're continuing to say that it reached a size of over 26 million square kilometers, specifically on September 16th, making it one of the biggest ozone holes on record. Obviously, we all know that the ozone layer on Earth is very, very important to us, so this is odd. The hole measured more than 3 times the size of Brazil, which is 8.51 million square kilometers, and more than North America as a whole, which is 24.71 square kilometers. It is very unidentified what is causing this, but they are going to look into it, so I'll give you an update. However, at the same time, they're noting that the unusual patterns could possibly be linked to the eruption of the Hunga Tonga Hunga volcano. That happened last year if you didn't hear about that. I'm going to be watching this for updates, so make sure you hit the plus on the side of your screen to come back.
My daughter are awaiting an MRI when this is captured.
Okay, go. Who is it?
It's so weird.
Is it you?
Is it me? It's not me.
It's motion sensor. There's no one over there. Okay, do it one more time.
Do it one more time, please.
Okay, yeah, you can play a game.
Okay.
Gotta play a game, okay?
So, do it if your eyes are blue. Okay. Do it if your eyes are green.
Oh.
Wait, so your eyes are green?
Through multiple back and forths and several videos, the mother and daughter determined that the spirit was indeed a female doctor with green eyes and red hair. But during the first half of the interaction, many viewers became concerned at one of their responses.
Wait, so are we friends now? Can you do it again if we're friends now?
Oh.
We're not friends? You don't like me?
At one point in the video, the spirit even stops responding as soon as the nurses enter the room.
Yeah.
So, double checking, you're a girl. Yes?
Oh. She got scared of the nurses.
It's okay, the nurses are gone. I promise. So, she's a girl.
As the girls continued to be entertained by the spirit, many believers in the paranormal were shocked at the carelessness in the interaction, stating that you never know what kind of entity you're truly messing with. What do you believe?
Did the nurses scare you when they came in the room?
It's
No,
a
you
girl.
see it. It's a girl.
So you're a girl, right?
See?
dark web's scariest video. There's a type of video from the dark web that you'd really rather never look at. These videos are like unsettling fragments of a dark, distorted reality, projecting images that the human mind would prefer to keep at bay. They slipped silently into the forgotten corners of the dark internet, waiting patiently for some unwary soul to discover them.
Babies to scream, but these babies were screaming for up to 30 minutes. Last week, the former nurse was sentenced to life in prison without the chance of parole. At number 3, Regina Johnson. In October 2017, she was found guilty of taking the lives of both her husband, Reuben Johnson, and their 14-year-old daughter, Aaliyah. Before sentencing, she read an open letter to her daughter saying how much she loved her and would never hurt her, but DA Nicole Rooney said the suspect changed before the shootings, mentioning her husband's affair and her mental instability. Johnson testified at trial that her husband was angry that Aaliyah was running late to school, and while they argued, the girl ran to get a gun from another room. Johnson said that her husband took away the gun, shot his daughter, and dropped the weapon. Johnson then picked it up and shot him several times. Evidence including the wounds, blood splatter patterns, location of the bodies, and Johnson's DNA on the pistol all pointed to her as the shooter. Rooney said Johnson also used lipstick to write on a mirror to her doctor that said, "This is your fault." In her testimony, Johnson said that she slept next to her daughter's body and did not call police. Prosecutors believe 3 days passed before she mentioned the bodies in a phone call with one of her sisters. Johnson was arrested but was later ruled not mentally competent to stand trial. She spent about 2 years in a state mental hospital before her competency was restored. She was sentenced to 80 years to life and then threw a fit towards the judge saying, "How can you sit there and say I took my daughter's life? Judge, you are not a fair judge, you're not." At number 2, Erica Mae Butts and Shanita Cunningham. I don't know how these two women were so shocked following their sentencing, considering the crime they committed, but they freaked out so much that the judge thought they might need medical attention. Both women, who were 25, were told in 2011 that they will spend the rest of their lives in prison for taking the life of 3-year-old Serenity Richardson while she was in their care. Richardson was visiting Butts, who was her godmother and mother's best friend. Cunningham was dating Butts and stayed with her and Erica for the same 2 weeks that Serenity was staying. These women repeatedly struck Richardson both with a belt and plastic coat hangers. Authorities explained that there was not one area of Serenity's body that was unharmed except for the soles of her feet. The women explained the punishment followed Serenity having an accident and peeing on the floor, explaining, "We didn't know what we did would end her life." However, these women certainly knew what they were doing. Upon being told they would both serve life sentences, both women collapsed to the floor, wailed uncontrollably, and hyperventilated. And at number 1, Michelle Blair. This was a case that rocked the nation as the Detroit mother of 4 took the lives of 2 of her children, storing their bodies in a freezer for almost 3 years. The gruesome discovery was made in March 2015 after the then 25-year-old mother was evicted from her apartment after failing to pay rent. Apparently, crews from the district court were sent to remove her belongings when they stumbled upon the deep freezer containing their remains. The medical examiner later determined that the children had been dead for at least 3 years and ruled their deaths as homicides. Blair was arrested and brought to trial, where she confessed to the crimes against her children, Stephen and Stoney. She claimed that she took the lives of her demons because they were taking advantage of her youngest son, Matthew, an accusation that has never been substantiated. Through the trial, Blair showed no remorse for her actions, and in court she even told the judge that she would do it again. In June 2015, she pleaded guilty to 2 counts of first-degree premeditated homicide and was sentenced to life in prison. Blair acted out a number of times in court, screaming and yelling as if she hadn't committed the most heinous act a mother could. That was the top 10 Karens who freaked out after receiving a life sentence. Did I miss any courtroom freakouts? Let me know which ones in the comments below. I've been your host, Maddie, and I'll catch you next time for another Top 10 Countdown.
I watch this movie because I've always been afraid to watch this movie, even though I've watched a lot of horror movies. Wolf Creek 2. If you haven't seen Wolf Creek, it's about the serial killer Mick Taylor who preys on unsuspecting backpackers and tourists in Australia, and it's very loosely based on the crimes of Ivan Milat, however the hell you say his name, and Bradley Murdoch. If you've seen the first first Wolf Creek, then you know that I'm completely justified in being nervous. Remember, head on a stick. Here we go, right from the first scene. Oh. Okay, all of this, it's only been 11 minutes into the movie. Looks like it's following basically the same formula as the first one, except with different people. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It had a lot of gore, but I mean, I've seen worse. Anything I'm like really pissed about that I wish I would have known, and it's my fault for not looking it up, is animals being hurt. I freaking hate that. So if you love animals, just know that there's gonna be a scene in this movie. And it goes quick, but still. Hated it. The movie's okay.
No, it's so weird they never mentioned what happened to Cusco's parents in The Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, they just never mentioned that.
But in the TV show, they do mention briefly that Cusco's dad got lost at sea when he was a baby, and that's how he became an emperor at such a young age. But the weird thing is, the only person that can confirm this story is Isma, the person that's trying to kill Cusco and get rid of Cusco to become the empress.
So he has to trust her.
Right, so are we really gonna take Isma's word for it? Or did Isma just do to Cusco's dad what she's been trying to do Cusco all along to try to gain power? And if you even want to get darker than that, in The Emperor's New Groove, all the animals have animal speak. They don't speak English, except for the humans that are turned into animal, which is why Cusco can talk as a llama. But there's one bug that screams, "Help me, before he dies from a spider that talks. Could that have been Cusco's dad that got transformed into that bug by Isma?
You think?
Well, Isma has the potion for it, so...
I have an update about that video. There was a situation where there were some young girls playing arcade games at a movie theater in Mansfield, Ohio. They had set up their phone to record them playing, and it caught two individuals kind of being creepy in the background. And the one guy comes around, startles them, says something about, "Do you like books?" and tries to like strike up a conversation with them. And then they leave, and the girls were uncomfortable. We put it out there to see if anybody knew who they were, and to kind of put out a warning. And we have an update from the police. Suspects identified in the Ontario Cinemark incident are from Michigan, which is interesting. Also interesting, after I posted that video, a lot of people tagged me in a video where a young woman said that she believed she knew who one of them was, this one in particular. She believed that was her stepfather. A lot of people tagged me in that. I saw a lot of other people make videos saying, "We've identified one of them," and putting out her stepfather's name. I spoke to her, and I did not make a video because I didn't feel there was enough there to substantiate the claim that that was her stepfather. She believed her stepfather was in Prague, but now he was in Ohio. There were reasons that she believed it was her stepfather, and I won't make public, but very legitimate reasons. And I think she was being very honest. I don't think she was lying in any way. But I just didn't see enough that I could say, "Hey, pretty sure this is the guy." Well, now they've been identified. And this is a woman. We have spoken to the 65-year-old woman wearing the black jacket and the 70-year-old man wearing the tan vest. Both are from Michigan. The important thing is they've been identified. Police are not identifying them publicly because they haven't been charged with anything, but they're looking into it. That's the important thing. But the police even make a point in this to say, to date, all the social media postings we have observed, none have identified them accurately. And that sounds like a little frustration of y'all putting a bunch of misinformation out there, which does not help. So, please, I can't reiterate enough that the young woman who made that video did it with all the best intentions. I have no doubt in my mind. We talked at length. She was just very, very concerned for those children, and from everything she told me, with good reason. But the good news, quite frankly, from what she told me, is that is not her stepfather, and police are investigating. So, people in Mansfield, Ohio can breathe a sigh of relief. These folks aren't even from there. They were passing through. And we have an answer, at least, and we'll move on to the next thing.
Elliot, what are you doing? Oh, that's cool. What's that? What's that in the corner?
The man hanging.
Oh, why have you drawn that?
Because the man is hanging there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What does he do?
He annoys me at the night.
Why?
Because he does this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I'm not allowed to tell anybody.
Okay.
This has to be one of the scariest videos I've ever seen. No ghosts, no spirits, real life. A young female real estate photographer was taking photos for her job one day. She happened to be in an occupied house. The resident began following her around. She says this wasn't unusual, so she didn't think anything of it, until she started noticing multiple locks on certain doors, and even a camera pointed toward one of these doors. When she goes upstairs, a man comes out of one of the rooms. What happens next is straight out of a horror film. You have to see the video for yourself.
Okay, so I took pictures of this house, and this guy was following me around like the whole time, which isn't unusual, but he was a little bit strange, and there was like 6 people living in this house, and it's a hoarder house. But I also noticed they have like 3 locks on the door, and then down here they have locks, and then going up here they have a camera and it's facing this door. Anyway, a roommate comes out of this door and he asks them if he should lock the door and kidnap me. And I said, immediately, people know where I am. And then he laughed and said, no one would ever hear from you again. Bro, I did not even finish this house. I immediately left. I was like, nope, dipped the out. You can see me right there. Hello. But yeah, pretty sure I maybe almost got kidnapped, but I don't really know.
If you're a woman and you've ever had any close calls like this, let me know in the comments below. We need to spread awareness that things like this really happen.
Have you ever been in a room full of people and felt like everyone was staring at you? What if I told you some believe those people might not be as human as they seem? Welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be exploring the mind-bending NPC theory that's gained traction in recent years. Get ready to question reality like never before. Now you might be wondering, what on earth is an NPC? In the world of gaming, an NPC stands for non-player character. These are computer-controlled characters that populate virtual worlds, carrying out predetermined actions and interactions. But what if I told you some people believe NPCs actually exist in our reality? According to the NPC theory, there are individuals walking among us who lack true consciousness. They're like programmed characters going about their lives, but lacking the depth of thought and emotion that we experience. It's a chilling concept that challenges our perception of what it means to be human. Proponents of the NPC argue that these individuals exhibit robotic behavior, often repeating patterns and displaying limited emotional range. They might struggle to hold meaningful conversations, seem disengaged or apathetic in their surroundings, and lack genuine reactions to unexpected events. Some even claim to have witnessed moments where the individuals glitch or freeze momentarily, as if their programming is faltering. Before we dive into the paranormal implications, it's important to mention that NPC theory has been highly controversial and widely debated, and for pretty good reason. Skeptics argue that labeling individuals as NPCs oversimplifies the complexity of human behavior and the various factors that can affect a person's demeanor. However, when we bring the NPC theory into the realm of the paranormal, things get even more interesting. Some speculate these NPCs may be entities from another dimension, glitching through to our reality. Others propose they could be part of a grand simulation, a glitch in the Matrix, or even supernatural beings that can mimic human form. Could it be that the encounters we've had with seemingly emotionless individuals were actually encounters with these mysterious NPCs? Are there hidden clues in the paranormal world that point to their existence? If we continue to explore the depths of the unknown, the answers to these questions remains elusive, shrouded in mystery. But it does make you wonder, next time you're standing in the middle of a crowded area, just how many of the people around you are having the same experience. I'm just kidding. I don't actually believe in NPC theory. I get why people find it appealing, and I can't lie and say I've never met someone who made me question whether they might be an NPC or not, but I do ultimately think that the NPC theory itself points at a more troubling trend among humanity to devalue and dehumanize the people around us. Just because we don't understand someone's reactions doesn't mean that they're not valid reactions in their own context, and doesn't mean that they're not a unique person having their own meaningful, valuable experience. While this channel is obviously all about exploring various paranormal theories and videos and experiences, I do think it's important to remember that the paranormal world is most often a reflection of the one we live in. It can be easy to romanticize the notion of aliens and paranormal entities beyond our comprehension, but for the most part I think that the genuine paranormal encounters we have, the ones that are most meaningful, are ones that enable us to understand our own humanity and that of those around us in a deeper way. Start viewing people around you as disconnected and human entities just going through the motions of some robotic AI intelligence, and you kind of become an example of the very thing you're worried about. But as always, I'd love to know your guys' thoughts in the comments.
So there is an accidental graveyard called Rainbow Valley, and it's on Mount Everest. It got its name from the multicolored jackets and climbing gear that is attached to the numerous corpses on Mount Everest. Now these corpses are littered on the hillside, giving it its rainbow effect. Those seeking to get to the top of Mount Everest will have to pass by these colorful corpses to get to the top. And over time, the mummified bodies would become sort of like goalposts for the climbers, goal markers, if you will. So just remember, if you're climbing Mount Everest, to wear something colorful. Confetti corpses. Corpses of confetti. Rainbow corpses.
This is one of the worst torture methods in human history. The Bogor swing, devised by Wilhelm Bogor, stands as a chilling symbol of the cruelty and inhumanity witnessed during and after World War II. This torture device consisted of 2 vertical beams supporting a horizontal iron pole. In Bogor's method, victims were forced to kneel with the iron pole positioned behind their knees, and their hands would then be tied to the pole. This setup left the victims hanging upside down, with their heads lowered and buttocks raised. Bogor infamously used this contraption to coerce confessions from his victims. The apparatus allowed for the victim to be swung in a long, slow arc across the room, heightening the sense of dread and disorientation. During this swinging motion, Bogor would interrogate them, his voice intensifying from quiet to loud and menacing. Each time the victim swung back, a guard equipped with a crowbar would brutally strike them across the buttocks, causing unbearable pain. The relentless swinging often led to victims losing consciousness, only to be revived for further torture. The repeated beatings would leave the victim in a horrific, bloodied state, often beyond recognition. Most victims tragically did not endure this ordeal, succumbing either during the torture or shortly after due to the severity of their injuries.
The algorithm, you know what I'm saying, the 808. The 808 exists in the lowest chakra of your body. The majority of content that's related to the 808 is killer or sexual content. The original 808s was even off pitch. So that meant it's an actual sound in the track that you don't realize is there that is fucking up your entire frequency.
They got this ritual that's only the feeder group. So I'm sitting there during the ritual, and I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool. The dude goes, shut up, I'll kill you. And they're all taking it very seriously. And this hearse comes in with the body of a child. It is an effigy. They're not killing it.
Well, it's just a bundle of sticks, right?
Yeah, well, it looks like a kid. No, later, others infiltrated later that worked there and got us photos of it. It's an image of a kid. It's a little kid.
Biblical is who they sacrificed to Canaanite.
It's a bull, but they do it as an owl.
They do it as an owl, yeah. But that's from the Bible, is you would sacrifice a child to Moloch.
Give not your children to the fires of Moloch.
60 seconds in your popcorn. The title of the video and author's acting credit is Joe Biden sworn in as U.S. President on Inauguration Day 2021. Now, when you go to this page, it's not there no more. It's been erased. But we got screenshots. Last week, Alex Collier said that actor Arthur Roberts was the man playing Joe Biden wearing a face mask. Also, Alex said the actor Arthur Roberts was getting ready to exit the stage on playing the role of Joe Biden. I looked up Arthur Roberts on the Internet Movie Database. Now this is gone. There's an actual acting credit for it. So I had to go search for this. Look at the date. January 20th, 2021. This is for everybody that said, oh, we made this up. Here you go. Here's Arthur Roberts right there. And you can see all the acting credits right there. I'm going to show you. Look at the top. Joe Biden. Joe sworn in as president. Here's another one. You can get a little closer look. Okay, and now I'm going to get to the finale because it's like right down here. Right there, ladies and gentlemen, right there. Washington, District of Columbia, USA. Y'all see what that says, right? Filming locations. Don't tell me I don't come with the receipts. I always do. 60 seconds in your popcorn.
Hey, attention. What's happening to Wendy Williams happened to Kanye and Dave Chappelle. Shares with someone you love, care, and respect. Run that video. Comment below. Kanye West and Dave Chappelle were right all along. Wendy Williams is under attack. What y'all think?
Did you see a neurologist to find out if I'm crazy? And they wanted to medicate me every day. You realize, like, they could have just switched to medication and I wouldn't be here. And on the news, they would have said it was because of a mental issue.
There was a radio personality once upon a time. Her name was Wendy Williams. And she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such.
This industry is a monster.
At a time like this, if I was on medication right now, then one pill could have been swapped out. And it would be Michael Jackson and Prince all over again.
They're trying to kill me. The whole time, they're trying to convince me I'm insane. They're trying to get me to take psychotic medication. Yeah, like I'm sitting around, I was stressed out, but the people that would tell me I was insane, I believe that they knew what was going on.
Anybody could look at her and tell this is not just alcohol. There's something more going on.
Wendy Williams is in trouble, and if she doesn't get the necessary help now, the elites will definitely succeed in getting rid of her. Hollywood is a place where fame and fortune often go hand in hand, but it's also a place where bizarre illnesses strike some of the most well-known personalities. The weird part is that most of the victims are some of the strongest beings you will ever come across on the face of Earth. If that's the case, then why do they suddenly get sick with illnesses that no one seems to know about? The answer is known only to the elites, who seem to be in control of who lives and who dies. Wendy Williams is one of the most fearless TV presenters who tackled some difficult issues. She didn't care who she was facing. When it came to doing her job, no one stood in between.
I know I pissed a lot of people off, including you. Mm-hmm. But this is a full circle moment, everybody. Yes. Get into adult conversation. Yeah. Full circle.
Yeah. But just like the elites tried to silence Dave Chappelle, Kanye West, and many others, this seems to be what is happening to the iconic TV presenter. I mean, how can someone change from this to this in a blink of an eye? What's really happening to Wendy Williams? Right about now, she's complaining about a lot of things. People have stolen all her money. She's bankrupt. And now people are calling her crazy. But this isn't a new situation in Hollywood. Kanye West explained this very well when it happened to him. Listen to this.
What I'm saying is, look, they tried to medicate me. I was exhausted. They wrongly diagnosed me. And they asked them, how much lithium did you want to put me on exactly? It took them 4 days to answer because they were embarrassed about the amount, right? And I refused to take this, right? You understand that if I had taken the medication, I would not be here, and it would have been, he was deeply troubled. We miss him. We love his music, though.
Well, they would have Britney Spears too. I mean,
They would have Michael Jackson.
Or worse. Fortunately, Kanye West outsmarted them, but I know their plan was to continue putting him on the wrong medication, then drain him financially so that he couldn't afford proper medication and eventually die. When this plan failed, they labeled him crazy so that people should stop paying attention.
I wanna be involved so bad, but nobody asked me about no damn gift. I wanna be involved so bad, but nobody asked me about no damn gift. What's good?
So is there going to be a public registry? Because I'm going to be honest with you. Take the gift cards. Everybody's presence. Take the gift cards, take the gift cards, take the gift cards.
Yeah, because they might put, what's that thing that was going around in the early 2000s? And yeah, how you doing? I'm feeling great. I'm so nervous, a little bit overwhelmed. I feel a little shaky. I don't know what's wrong with me. No, it's good. It's good. You go ahead. Get the question. Great.
Was Kobe Bryant's death planned 4 years before it happened? In 2016, a Comedy Central cartoon named Legends of Chamberlain Heights aired an episode where Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash. The second prediction of Kobe Bryant's death also happened in 2016 at his last basketball game. In that game, fans sitting courtside received a goodie bag that also included a Kobe Bryant toy that turned into a helicopter. That's insane. Kobe died in a helicopter crash in 2020. Are we living in a simulation? Was this some crazy coincidence? Or was this foreshadowing?
Yes, to drink each other's blood might mislead people, or like people are imagining us with like goblets and we're like Game of Thrones drinking each other's blood. It's just a few drops, but yes, we do consume each other's blood on occasion for ritual purposes only. It is used for a reason, and it is controlled where it's like, let's shed a few drops of blood and each drink it. He's much more haphazard and hectic and chaotic, where he's willing to just like cut his chest open with broken glass and be like, take my soul, let me bleed on you. It doesn't not happen, let me tell you. Maybe not exactly like that, but a version of that has happened many times.
He's a conspiracy theorist now, but that's what people are saying about the Diddy situation. When the feds rolled up with the fucking Hummers and shit, it wasn't about Diddy. It was about if there were tapes of powerful people there. Sure. They were the ones that called it. I need to protect myself, so go in there with all the things and rip any tapes or any evidence.
Well, Prince Harry was hanging with Diddy.
I mean, everybody hung with Diddy. That's the other tricky thing. Like, Diddy hung out with everybody.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. I'm trying out a few new things, so let me know how my voice sounds. If you guys like it, if you don't like it, be nice in the comments. So if y'all like the new side questions, let me know. And yeah, I'm going to be leaving my reactions towards the end, but I'm going to keep them short. So really, I just want to talk about Wendy Williams today and how she's being treated with her conservatorship and how she basically needs her own Free Britney moment at this point. And I'm sure you guys could agree. A lot of people in Hollywood probably do. But yeah, before I ramble too much, hit that thumbs up. And if you enjoyed these videos, subscribe. And if you want a chance to win that gift card, leave an alien emoji. Until next time, stay safe out there. Peace.
Supernatural, I shy, what's all the buzz? But bags of bones seem so unsafe if it's semi-serious.